Welcome to a guided meditation for the boys on the Grind Life app. Quick reminder, this is for legends only, so if you are a beta bitch, please kindly see yourself out.
Now that those cock pussies are gone, we can start in peace. Welcome, alphas.
We're going to start the session by just popping a zin up for deck and just aping into a legendary breath. Now grunting it out.
What a Giga Chad you are.
And remember, you're not taking this break because you deserve it. You're taking this break because you're a savage who takes what the he wants.
You're on a see-take diet. You see things and you take them.
Another high-value alpha breath. Hodl for 1 second and grunt it out.
The amount of quotas you're going to crush after this is going to be disgusting.
While betas are skipping leg day to crank it in their goon caves, absolute closers like you are making passive income on both crypto and investment real estate.
They're not about that hustle life the way you are.
Now just allow the gravity of your massive balls and hammer to sink into the floor, releasing any tension you may have built up from working while those wage slaves are sleeping.
Anyone ever tell you you're a beauty, bud?
Now, quick reminder, you'll get back to smashing 10s with low body counts and bending the world over momentarily, but first you just want to center your Chad self with another deep breath. Now grunt it out stoically.
Other men might cry, but that ain't you. You wouldn't want to burden the other wolves in your pack like that.
You're just built different, a warrior. Your shoulders are meant to take heavier loads.
And we don't mean loads in any gay way.
The only pride you celebrate is pride in your work.
We've seen your roster, a lot of talent, nice stuff.
True goat.
Now let's do a quick body scan. Start from your feet, work up to your yoked calves, to your diamond hands, on to your hulking traps, and then to your galaxy brain.
Now let's finish with one deep hit of the vape. Hodl, hodl, hodl. Now grunt it out.
Now it's time to go fuck up the day.
The boys!
It's the Boyscast.
The lads!
It's the Boyscast.
The dudes!
Prepare yourself for Boyscast.
The bros!
It's the Boyscast.
The homies!
It's the Boyscast.
The dudes!
Experience the Boyscast.
The boys! Cast!
Welcome to another episode of the coveted Internal Boyscast podcast, the first podcast internally for the boys.
Eternally or internally?
Internally. It's
like
a boys internal.
It's like a podcast in suppository.
I'm more
form.
ting like, you know, you're at work and you go, we're doing sort of an internal thing. You go, just dudes.
Look, Ryan, I'm looking for
Internal
stuff to shove
gender.
up my ass, okay?
Woo!
And if I could be this podcast, maybe you get one of those portable
Well, if you shove all that stuff up your ass, you're going to have trouble talking out of it.
Get one of those pill speakers, you know, those portable speakers. Go fucking Richard Gere style, just jam that thing up your ass, link it to your phone, play the pod.
It's also eternal and suppository. The boys cast. Trump and Fauci on the fucking chopping blocks. Hunter Biden's on the chopping
A lot
block.
of people on the blocks.
I honestly think that's the new movie, and we're going to talk about this later. I'm not getting too into it, but I do think there is a chance that there's a movie coming out where it's Trump, Fauci, and also Hunter Biden share a cell together.
Yeah. Who do you reckon might produce something like that?
Patrick Bet-David.
Yeah, I was going to say, not a huge appetite in traditional Hollywood. Maybe throw Weinstein in
The
there.
deep state finally got its way. America was able to do what it does to... I was sort of thinking, because America was able to do to Trump what they've been able to do to other countries forever.
Sure.
They've finally been able to gerrymander their own country the way they've been able to do every
Hey.
other country in history.
Yeah.
Okay, but before all that stuff...
Those shenanigans.
It's also the Pride Month Spooktacular.
Ooh, dicks everywhere. Oh. They're helicoptering in front of your kids.
It's pretty funny. That's a good horror movie. You get trapped in Pride and you can't leave.
Zombie pride.
Zombie
They're all zombies. They're just dicks instead of brains. Dicks. And your kids.
I need to show it to your kid.
Your kid needs to see my micro penis.
That's what Pride is right now. I was saying Pride is like, they say basically, hey, they were just showing that, that there's nothing wrong with his lifestyle. And then bring your kids, bring your families. And then the people on the parade do everything they can to push that belief.
Of course.
They go, let's see how much you believe that.
Yeah. I do like, though, that they had the Pride parade and then the pro-Palestine people. Did you see that in Philly?
Of course I saw that.
They were beefing with one another.
Okay, fuck it. We're into Pride. We're Pride Spooktacular. I actually had sort of an issue with that because I was going to go to Pride and I didn't know whether I was going to wear my nipple tassels or the Palestine gear. And then
you wear your keffiyeh or whatever.
that's the thing, man. I'm calling on my
Keffiyeh
friends.
daddy.
I go, you going nipple tests? You going Palestine?
What are we doing? Yeah, it's tough.
Me personally,
You'd think that they would be kind of on board with one another. There would be but
yeah, but well, not completely. I think there's a certain sector of Pride that's maybe a little sick of every single year it gets
co-opted by a new thing. Yeah, they're probably like the Pride people are probably like, look, literally every other month we're pretty much doing the pro-Palestine thing. This month we're just going to do the gay stuff.
Well, that's what I mean, right?
We'd like to just focus on us.
But I think it gets proven over and over that, and it's the same thing why I think black guys sort of got out of this stuff, because it's like they realized that the male stuff was going to hit them and then they're straight and blah, blah. It was like the intersectional thing wasn't helping them as much. I think a lot of gay guys felt that way, the same thing as well, too, where they're just like, okay, this is your month. It's like, oh, it's so good to be gay. We're going to help you out. Like, you're going to get all this, kind of like support and everything. And then it was just like 9 parades in a row. It's like taken over by something else. You're just like, well, and I was kind of saying this on stage a little bit, but think about it this way. If any rapper can say something homophobic and sort of get away with it. However, if one queer eye for the straight guy said the N-word, his career is over. You'll never hear about that. You'll never hear about that guy again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'll be a dead guy for the black guy.
You'll be no career guy.
Okay, you know what? Let's just get back onto basics for a second here. Mm-hmm. So the first thing is just because we've been talking about the phone stuff, and I was sort of thinking about this a lot, the way that it's affecting you, and we did a intro sketch about meditation, the way it's meant to be done.
Sure.
There's this like remote Amazon tribe, right?
Yeah.
And as far as they're concerned, things were going pretty good. They had their system.
We're just hunting and fishing.
They're hunting, they're fishing, hanging
banging
with the
every
boys.
chick in the town. They all have the same last name. It's pretty easy to keep track of everyone.
And now the Jews kind of gave them.
The Jews are like, would you like some internet?
You can watch pornography on
They go, what is this loan you speak of? You want higher crop yields? You're going to need to take out a little loan there.
Monsanto, not going to work here anymore. So they basically took this remote Amazon tribe and then they gave him the internet. And within like a month, it was like wreaking havoc on the village. Everyone's fighting. They're all hooked on porn.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, there are some.
Everyone's lazy. The main guy was like, none of the young people want to do anything
They don't
anymore.
want to do anything anymore. They're all influencers. They're all TikTok influencers now.
Well, yeah, you are kind of. You're just like, wait, why am I like, basically doing jail work of cracking rocks all day long and digging in mines when I could be a influencer?
Just dancing on TikTok, yeah. But I mean, they said, here's the thing, and this is their...
Well, you have access to, you go, that life's way better than mine. What am I doing over here?
But here's the thing, and they have the same issue that we have, where you go, there are some good things. They were like, if you get sick or something, like you can now figure out what your illness is or call somebody and get someone to come help you. So they're like, there are these positives, but then there's all these negatives, and it's so hard to just balance them.
The problem is the negatives come at you hard, fast, and they fucking are hard to fight against.
Yeah. They should send them kosher phones. Kosher phones might be the way out.
You know what I was thinking of is, what is Johnny up to? He looked like he got fucking spooked there. The Spooktacular got him. So, do you know how, okay, so when you first start dating someone, obviously people you would want a girl to send you nudes, right?
Yeah.
But then the longer you've been together, the longer the nude's worth nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, a girl sends you nude after a couple of years. You're like, what's this? You know?
Yeah.
I remember I got in trouble once. A girl that I'd been dating for a bit sent me a nude, and I was like, okay, but I'm at the store. What do you want? And she's like, she literally said, she started crying, and she's like, I sent you a nude. And that's what you want. I go, I was in the middle of something. I can't be stopping everything.
And then you gotta be like, or you pull it up, you're on the subway, and then people around you see it. And
it's just, I wasn't as worried about that, the people on the subway, but it was more just like, okay, what are you up to?
Sure.
Well, it's more like that. When you get a nude out of the blue from a girl you're dating, you go, you need something. It's when Vince Vaughn, it's the character, the bad guy in Wedding Crashers. You don't get enough attention.
She's like, I'm trying to spice things up. You're like, well, then fucking clean up the house.
I'll tell you, spice things up. Buy some spices because your food's bland. No, actually, I take that back. I like the bland food. But
like the bland food.
someone else might say that in a different scenario. But So I was saying that every month you've been together, the nude's probably worth 10% less. It's basically like
Depreciates.
it's basically like nudes are basically like the American dollar.
Yeah.
If you've been together 3 months, you better show up with a wheelbarrow full of nudes.
Purchasing power, yeah. It's hyperinflation.
It is hyperinflation. But after the year mark, it goes into hyperinflation.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm gonna need you shoving something up your ass or something if you're gonna need anything.
You need a wheelbarrow of nudes just to get me to like go pick you up.
Well,
a
the problem
soda.
is like you have the old nudes still. It's not like I threw out the old ones.
You didn't throw
and
them
then
out.
if you're deep enough in the relationship, then you're like,
Old
you
nudes
look,
are better.
You're like, you look worse. Not any girls we date, obviously, but you know,
is true.
You know, if you're like 50 or something, and your girl sends you nudes, you're like, I got the nudes from 10 years.
I
ago.
have this $100 bill minted,
Yeah.
and I have laminated, and it's put in a safety deposit box. You're rolling a dollar bill that has been crumpled up,
Yeah.
taken out of a homeless guy's hand, and then you're
Absolutely.
rolling it at me.
Yeah, you have like the old gold standard money where you're like, I can turn this in for actual gold, and she goes, here's some worthless paper money.
And also, there's a chance they're going to be worth more if you break up. And
Right.
So there's another thing where it's basically like when you have the dollars and you're like, this one might be the right year where all of a sudden it's worth 10 times the amount.
Mm-hmm.
There are scenarios in that relationship where all of a sudden this is going to be worth 10 times the amount.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my nude inflation theory.
Nude inflation.
But the people on the internet, obviously, like echo chambers and stuff have made people so extreme or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's funny, like I was watching. I think we all know that, you know, a girl's trying to convince himself they're retarded nonstop, and those
Sure.
people are lost their
Mentally
mind.
ill.
But there is a lot of pages that post these videos. Like there's this dude that just he posted like a thing of how he got cheated on basically, and then he walked in and he was like, "What the hell?" And then he beat the guy. The guy beat him up.
Oof, that's tough.
Brutal,
You catch
right?
a girl cheating on you, and then you get your
It
ass
was like
kicked.
a big hood dude, right? And he walked in with his phone, and then the guy beat him up or whatever. And then
Damn.
it was just funny. Like every single comment was just like, the fact that he could beat you up is the reason this happened in the first place. Like there wasn't like maybe one guy being like, that sucks, and every single other comment would be like, what happens when you're not fucking alpha chat?
Sure.
It wouldn't be me.
I actually saw, speaking of,
Like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, stuff does happen to people.
yeah, I saw this Instagram thing where some girl, like, I can't remember exactly what the context was, but there's some video, and then she sent it to her girlfriends, and it was like something about like some chick thing, and then all the girls were like, you know, you're better than this, blah, 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 and then she sent it to her boyfriend. The boyfriend's like, I don't get it, and his comments were all different. Like his top comments were basically like Instagram was showing him different top comments, so it was all guys like just trashing this chick, and then hers were like, you're so brave.
What the fuck?
Isn't that crazy? So she's like, basically Instagram is even like, if you're a certain type of profile, then they'll show you like the comments. The top comments are even different for you.
What?
Yeah.
I guess it's showing you comments of people you interact with.
No, this
more.
is just the top ones. These are all like 25,000 likes kind of thing. And then it was just like the guys all had 25,000 likes.
They're
too,
making you
but there's-
live in different realities.
Literally, yeah.
Well, maybe I'm in the Alpha Chad algorithm.
Yeah, you would have got the ones where you're just like, yeah, she sucks.
Not that wouldn't happen to me, dog. But
Yeah,
it was just
dog.
like it was like 9 guys being like like just everyone on the internet being like, I'd never be cheated on. I could beat up every guy.
Sure.
And you're just like, okay, what are we doing here, boys? Like, you know what I
on.
mean?
Yeah, come on.
what are we doing here?
Come on. I mean, maybe you'd be like, run away, but I don't know.
I'll tell you what did happen to me though. I got into the algorithm of this is gonna sound crazy, and I feel like you're not even.
Listening.
So I basically started feeding fixing cows' hooves videos.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those.
Made the hoof guy.
Yeah, I've seen the hoof guys.
And at first I was like, because I told you I go on Facebook.
it falls under
sometimes
the
because-
satisfying stuff where they're
Well,
like
maybe you
carving-
satisfy yourself to
carving
it. I'm just
soap
watching it.
or whatever, and all those weird like visual
I don't satisfy
ASMRs.
myself to that, but I just watch it. And the first probably sent me 20 of them, right? And I was just like, I don't want to watch fucking hoof videos. I'm not a
Sure.
farmer. And I guess the algorithm was like, yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do. Trust me, millions of people watch this shit.
Everyone says
big
that.
content.
I promise you want to watch this. Now, I'm so deep in the Hoof shit that like I have different guys that I like and don't like.
Your Hoof guys? Yeah.
Oh, I'm commenting on the hoofs. Like, that's a bad hoof clean. Like,
that horse is going to be feeling it tomorrow. That's not how you do it.
I was like, that blade's not sharp enough. Like,
I mean, you learn stuff.
I'm so deep into the hoof cleaning community.
That hooves are like kind of like, I guess they're like
toenails,
fingernails where they don't hurt to cut them and stuff.
People in the comments section are very, very critical of the hoof cleans. They're all like, they're just like, how they all want to, like, anytime there's a cow that has like a really bad hoof, they're all just like, what's the owner's name? How did you let it get it to this?
Yeah,
like,
how could you let this happen to them?
And the hoof guy's always coming back being like, sometimes it just happens pretty quick, and these cows, like, they pretend they're not injured when they are. They're good at hiding it.
Right,
They were like, we want names, we want addresses.
That's funny. Yeah, the hoof content's big. People just love to see what people just do for jobs.
I'll tell you, yeah.
Yeah, just whatever it is. You go like pressure washing a house and you go, I'll just wash a guy.
None of that stuck with me. It's just the hoof guys. They got me. They got me in the hoof community, man. You know what I also felt last internet comment is it does feel like officially like racism for funniness purposes is back on the internet.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's somewhat fair because it does seem like Jews are getting hit right now. The Indians get it pretty hard, to be honest.
Oh, dude, I saw the
black guys are getting it.
Funniest
white guys obviously get it.
Yeah, the funniest Indian video is this guy who, this is just like some random whatever algorithm thing, but this guy from India who was trying soap for the first time because he never had used. Can I pull it up? I actually have it saved. I don't know if we want to watch it or maybe not, whatever. But anyways, he's trying soap for the first time and he goes, so he's like, I just found out because we were told that basically that like using soap stunted your growth and using shampoo stunted your growth. But he's like, but it turns out it's a myth. So then he like takes his like bike into town and he like goes to multiple places and he's like, can I buy soap? And they're like, no, we don't sell soap. Like, they're like, because they're just like, don't use soap, I guess. Honestly, it's fucking crazy. And then eventually he gets soap and he's just like, you see him, he must be 30.
That's crazy.
And he's just like using soap for the first time because there's, I guess, a myth.
I mean, the comment sections must have been having a field day on that puppy. I'll tell you who's sort of sitting pretty is Asians. They don't really, I feel like they're getting hit the least out of any race right now.
Yeah, because they just fucking keep their heads down and they just fucking power through, you know?
Yeah, it is true. I feel like Asians are sitting pretty, but no one sits pretty for too long, so I feel like they're going to get theirs. But it does feel like everyone's getting hit. Obviously, there are some people that are actually like angry in their race stuff.
Sure,
you know?
sure.
But I feel for the most part, it's almost like jokey. It kind of reminds me of like how things were in like a high school or something where everyone's multicultural and not racist.
Yeah, not racist. It's just fun to make fun of people's stuff.
So the one thing that people told us, and a lot of people messaged me this because been talking about the stoicism stuff. So apparently Marcus Aurelius
got cheated on.
You saw it too, right?
Yeah, which makes so much sense.
Apparently Marcus Aurelius' fucking wife was like smashing gladiators.
Some gladiators and shit, and so he's just like, fucking hate chicks. Being stoic, hate chicks.
Yeah, he was like, nothing matters. It's like, well, I guess you have to have some opinion like that when the gladiators are all running through your chick.
Yeah, that's true.
That being said,
I mean, but gladiators, that's a pretty risky thing. Like, he was the most powerful man in the world at that time. Like, literally the most powerful guy in the world.
Yeah.
Like, you think there's a lot of risk there smashing the dude's, like, the king's wife.
Yeah, maybe he didn't give that much of a shit. Maybe Marcus Aurelius was like,
maybe he had so much tang on the side.
He might have had so much tang.
And he had like 14 kids.
He was like, oh no, you smash. He was like, go smash one of the gladiators.
Yeah, she's pumped out 14 kids. You have her. I'm going to go.
Yeah, that thing's blown out.
Yeah. Good luck. You might want to bring a couple friends if you want to feel anything.
Yes, I'm banging the wenches.
Yeah,
exactly. I have 19 wenches coming in here this evening.
He was the original Take My Wife. He invented stoicism and Take My Wife.
So definitely, that's our take on it. Is that Marcus Aurelius was on his own accord. Yeah. He's not going to get cucked like that.
He ain't getting cucked like that.
And then our buddy John Lonsdale does this newsletter, and I thought it was in line with what we've been talking about, and it was like one of the most interesting things I've ever seen. So basically, it's kind of a thing that we already maybe knew, but they put stats to it, and they did the studies. So every woman that has like a channel like convincing you're retarded and you're depressed and all that stuff, they all say they're spreading awareness, right?
Yeah.
But they did this study, and it was basically, it is like conclusive, hands down, that spreading awareness actually is just spreading the problem.
Right, like-
because they're all social contagions.
Yeah, for sure. People-
Spreading awareness about suicide makes people commit more suicide.
and the amount of people who probably see that and they go, "Oh, that's me." Like they're like, "I never heard of this."
Oh,
thing.
maybe I am depressed.
Yeah, you go, "Hey, I have like." They're like, "Oh, here are 5 symptoms." You're like, "I have 2. I'm 2 of those things."
But
it's like horoscopes.
That's a big part of it, but the probably bigger part about it is the extent to which women specifically take on the characteristics of everyone they're around.
Sure.
And anyone who's been paying attention for the last little while can see that, where you go, I mean, it's the oldest thing in the book, like your girl's hanging out with a bunch of whores, that's going to be problematic for you. You know what I mean?
You're not going to love when she goes out on a night on the town, that's for sure.
But they go, if your friend shows up and her like squad of friends look like a defensive line, you know that she's gonna be packing them on, right? There's a bit of it for guys, but if your friend smokes, you're 61% more likely to be a smoker. If your friend's friend smokes, you're 29% more likely to smoke. If your friend becomes obese, you are 50% more likely than baseline to gain weight. So me being friends with you, it's a miracle that I've been able to keep my figure. Over the next 4 years, if a friend becomes obese, your likelihood of gaining weight increases still approximately 20%. So, and men tend to mirror their male friend's physical state. So if you're a bunch of dudes,
Well, it'd just be weird
obviously.
for sure if you go out. It'll be weird if there's like 6 of you go out and 4 or 5 of you like, yeah, I'll grab a salad, and one guy's like, I'll grab 400 chicken wings, and you're like, okay.
And it's also the 4-minute mile thing a little bit, where you set the baseline of like what's normal, right?
Yeah.
If everyone's like 20 pounds overweight, you're like, well, yeah, obviously you're gonna have a couple extra pounds. If everyone's fit, you're like, oh, I'm a fat guy.
Yeah. Plus, also, if you hang out with all these fit guys, then they talk. They
Talk shit
act,
to you.
Well, and they act like they talk about diet and going to the gym, and they care about that stuff, right? So like those are like things they're interested in, and so either you're not going to have anything to talk to them about, or you're going to have less in common with them.
And the same with females goes more so with the emotional state. So they tend to mirror their friend's emotional state. Depression in females increases the likelihood of depression in their female friends by 142%. In contrast, male depression doesn't have a measurable effect on their male friends as much. So
Yeah, because you cut
Don't
out
talk about it and don't cut it out, yeah.
If you become the depressed friend, like in a group, you pretty quickly just get cut out of that group.
yeah, you might get
Like
cut
a
out, or you don't, or
normal-
they don't know that much.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying if it becomes we know so many guys who they're just like all of a sudden they're moping around. You're just like, I don't want to hang out with that guy. You're like, I don't want to hang out with that guy unless
Yeah.
it's like your best friend and you're like really concerned. But if it's just like a kind of casual friend,
And girls' friend groups are more socialized, where they like, if people are depressed, the high people sort of slink down to that.
Yeah. they'll
It's their equity, what they try to do with everything,
Exactly,
right? They
yeah,
don't
yeah.
say, let's raise the lower people. They bring down the higher
bring
people,
down the higher
right?
people, yeah.
So that's what happens. And the analogy he made, John, he said basically it's the equivalent of, so he's talking about seeking pity, and he says that seeking pity is like the kind of crux of like so many of the problems, but under the guise of spreading awareness is like a coal plant claiming to raise awareness about pollution while they run a coal
while they
plant.
run a
You know
coal
what I
plant.
mean?
Yeah.
And so
That's a
it's-
good point.
I mean, obviously, we kind of make the point there go all these people that are trying to help just make it worse. Government sort of operates like that. They always, make the problem worse and then prescribe themselves as more of the solution.
Absolutely.
But it's so interesting that every single person online that's just like, I'm here to like help people with depression. You literally are making the world worse, and you're making more people depressed.
Absolutely.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I mean, you're maybe helping like a couple people, and then, but yeah.
On aggregate,
it's
you
worse.
generally have a net negative to the world.
For sure. But in there, but again, and those people are trying to make money off of this somehow, so they probably don't give a shit.
Well, some of them, I think
They
some
go,
of
the
them
more
have to
depressed
pretend
people, the better. They're like, let's go. I just increased my market size.
That's true, but I feel like a lot
Not
of
that
girls
they're
have trouble like
actively thinking.
living in that cognitive dissonance. They have to pretend, they have to trick themselves into believing, no, I actually care
Yeah,
about
of course,
this a lot.
of course. Yeah. And they would say like that woman would be like, well, those people are depressed. Like just the fact that I helped them realize that, like, give me a pat on the back. Like
And it's
that's another better thing I did.
Yeah, and then that is exactly what they'd say, and then you would say, no, actually, it's not that, because they did the numbers.
Well, the funny thing enough is
You're right, they would say, yeah, no, what's actually happening is this, and you go, oh, yeah, no, that's wrong.
Well, that Amazon tribe, if you took their pre-Starlink depression rates, I imagine it would be 0. Let's check in on them in 2 years and see how much depression they have. It'll be substantially higher than 0. I fucking guarantee it.
Right. So when you take that principle and then you sort of extrapolate it on everything else that they're doing, it's just like so there are so many people that are just in the straight up business of like making people's lives worse in externalities in the pursuit of making people's lives better.
Sure. And making their own lives better financially.
Yeah.
They're selling some.
I mean, they're
course or
literally a
some bullshit.
tobacco factory, essentially.
Yeah.
Like people that are selling like depression content are literally running a tobacco factory in terms of like its negative effect on people.
Yeah. But chicks like to cry. Chicks like to just watch something and just fucking turn on the waterworks, you know?
That's true.
Yeah.
But that doesn't, you can
Doesn't
find
excuse
versions
it,
of
but-
that without like making
That's true. You can watch
depression
a
like your
movie.
identity.
Yeah, you can just watch a movie.
Because you're around these people and then you start to mimic them and you go, they're depressed. You go, I'm depressed too. Maybe I'm depressed. And then now the whole squad's
And
depressed.
also when you see the back to the pity thing, like when you see people getting sympathy for their depression, and you go, "Oh, that looks."
Oh,
nice.
on top of that, they make it look nice.
Yeah, they go, "Oh, people care about me more if I'm depressed."
Yeah, they make it look like there's benefits galore in pity, but I guess the theory, the hypothesis here is like it ain't all this fucking roses with the pity business.
No. The pity parties are not fun.
But so you extrapolate, like for example, there was this article: Hollywood movies rarely reflect climate change crisis, and crazy article, but they did. You know how they used to do the Beckenberg test? What is it? Bechdel test?
Yeah.
What did I say?
Beckenberg. We'll Jew it up a little bit. The Bechdel test.
The Bechdel test was they were like, doing an audit on movies, being like they don't talk about women enough, right? And they were saying whenever female characters are there, they're talking about men, and it was like, yeah, that's what females do.
Yeah,
in
it's
real
crazy
life.
how movies got worse when they started doing that. What are the odds? Crazy that they started doing that, and then movies got worse.
Well, they're not done fucking with them either. They did this audit. They go, the vast majority of movies failed the climate reality check proposed by the authors who surveyed 250 movies. The test is simple. The authors look to see if a movie presented a story in which climate change exists and whether a character knows it does. But most movies fell short. Fewer than 10% of the 250 films passed the test, and climate change was mentioned in 2 or more scenes of a fewer than 4% of the films. And you go, they want 40% of movies to mention climate change multiple times.
And Trump, ideally, and all the things that they have are fucking mad
It's like, are you fucked?
I'd like to see what those movies are, too. I mean, I imagine one of them's Don't Look Up, and then, which was all about that. But then I'm like, I'd like to see those movies. Like, any good ones?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
These
Like,
movies
where they
that
all
is
just shit, like,
I mean, they're probably
pandering garbage.
apocalypse oriented.
Yeah, but like,
I'll tell you what, I don't need the equalizer being like, I'm going to equalize you. The only thing that can stop me is climate change, which has actually become a very big problem in our society.
He goes, but it's too hot outside today because of this goddamn ozone layer. So,
So we just won't rob the bank.
yeah. Well, we'll have to wait until it's a little more cool outside.
But again, so the moral of the story is like when they do these stats where they go 60% of people are worried about climate change. It was like, because you keep telling them to be worried about climate change.
Yeah.
And they're like, look everyone's worried about climate change. The movies should reflect that. You go, no, media reflecting that is why they do it. And you're like, yeah, but there's some media left that still doesn't.
Have you ever seen that graphic of, it was like a weatherman from like 1995 versus one from like 2020?
No, what happened
And
to
it was
that?
literally like, just like a map of some city or like some state. And then, it has all like the zones with the temperatures, and all the temperatures are exactly the same, like 15, 20 years later. But the one from 20 years previous, it would be like the colors were all just like green and blue and like some red, and then the new one is all red, right, to make it seem like it's so hot.
Oh, yeah.
Right, but all the actual temperatures were the same. They hadn't changed in 20 years, but then the graphic was
Holy
like all
shit.
fucking burning up red. So
Yeah, they have like the guy standing there with like flames on his
flames
head.
on his head or whatever, but you're like, the temperatures were actually the same. They never changed.
That's something else.
Hey man, they're trying to push some sort of agenda.
Yeah, obviously, but it's just so crazy because now, kind of given this information, you can kind of put together this theory where you're just like, everything these people do is just to like make people more depressed.
Yeah. Also, people hate surely people realize like the movies that pander have a way lower chance of success.
That's true.
The pandering in general. I don't know if you saw the Washington Post. now because
I'm more of a Washington Redskins guy.
Hey, but they Washington Post, like they have
Generals.
Generals, no commanders. Commanders. That's what they're called.
No, what's the one that plays the Globetrotters?
Oh, the Washington Generals. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. But anyways, the Washington Post, their editors, because they're like they lost $80 million last year, so their editors like, all right, time to cut this bullshit. Like we got to bring in differing perspectives. Well, all these other people were like, we're not doing that, and just literally ran themselves into the ground to like spite themselves. Essentially, they're like, we're not bringing in opposing viewpoints. Their audience kept leaving, and they're like, no, the audience is wrong, until they literally were just like, we're bankrupt now.
I thought the Washington thing did a big thing recently because people were talking about it, where basically he said that they're doubling down on more DEI to solve the problem.
For Washington Post?
That's what I thought.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but I know specifically, like they brought in some new editor, and the editor's like, all right.
Well, maybe that guy's reasonable.
We're just like, well, he's just like, this is a business.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, he's like, do we want to not have jobs? All of us not have jobs in 5 years from now because you guys are like so steadfast on pushing this like.
I mean, it's always like, he used to always say this at the TV networks in Canada, but it really is like a guy being like, red shirts are in, and then they were, and then basically like they go out of style and no one's wearing the red shirts, and they're like, no, and you're like, what about if we make some blue shirts? And you're like, I think they want red, and you're like, they don't though, and you go, they do, and you're racist if you don't wear blue.
Did you see the big the CBC scandal?
No, I always like hearing about him now.
This is fucking the nerve of the CBC. So the CBC has all the hockey rights, okay, in Canada. Like they're on Sportsnet as well, but like CBC has them all. They can broadcast any game. Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals between Dallas and Edmonton. Edmonton won. The CBC did not air it in order to put on the Canadian Screen Awards, followed by a rerun of some Just for Laughs thing.
Why?
Because they're fucking run by women.
So no one could watch it?
You could watch it on Sportsnet.
You could go find it somewhere else to watch it,
but like because the thing with CBC in Canada is everybody has it. Like if you have a TV,
right?
Like if you literally
if
you put a piece of tin foil in the back of it, like to make it an antenna or whatever, like you get.
Why
CBC
would they even do the Canadian Screen
country.
Awards at the same time as a Game 6?
Because they don't think about. I mean, I don't even know if it was live, but they're just like, we're airing it. This is the time slot. Like it probably wasn't even live. Maybe it was live. I don't know. But like literally nobody gives a shit about that in Canada. I know they're trying to make people give a shit about that, but you're like, this is a Canadian team in the Western, like about to win to go to the
yeah.
Dude, people were like, holy shit. Especially in Western Canada where they're like, we can't watch the Oilers game on CBC because we have to watch a fucking Just for Laughs rerun.
The gay awards.
And the gay, yeah, like people were fucking losing their minds. Crazy. But like someone made that decision. They're like, yeah, fuck the hockey game. We're going to make people watch the Canadian Screen Awards.
And it probably wasn't even that big of a decision for them. They're just like, there's some hockey game on. You go, I don't know, there's some hockey game on. That's probably but whatever.
Yeah, but
there's
they're like
tons of hockey games.
Yeah, they play all year. What do you mean? Who cares? It's just another.
I can miss one hockey
No,
game.
it was literally the chick who goes, should we do the Canadian Screen Awards or sports ball? No, thanks.
Sports puck.
Sports puck? No, thanks. Let's do the Canadian Screen Awards.
That's fucking stupid, dude.
Crazy.
I was going to go to Game 7 if it happened, actually.
In
New York.
Oh, the Rangers.
Yeah, I was going to go to the Rangers game with Martinello and Jarrett potentially, but then it didn't happen.
Against Florida?
Yeah, but it would just ended in Game 6.
Yeah, it ended in Game 6.
Yeah.
You were going to pay, those tickets were $1,000.
No, you could find them for like $350
Fuck
for.
no, man. No way. At Madison Square Garden?
Yeah.
No, Florida was the Game 7. The Game 6, you mean?
Nope.
Florida was...
No, Game 7 was going to be in New York.
Oh, no, right. Yeah. New York, right. Game 7 was going to be in New York. What?
Fellas, it's summertime, which means it's time for Butcherbox. You can get incredible deals, premium cuts at Butcherbox. Deals so good, they are hard to come by at the grocery store. I got the Pops on Butcherbox.
Ooh,
I got Butcherbox.
Yeah, I love the Butcherbox.
Danny and me have both been on Butcherbox. I've actually had Butcherbox at Danny's place. And we're talking steaks. We are talking best cuts of everything. Chicken, seafood, 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, pork raised, crate-free, wild-caught seafood, humanely raised, no antibiotics, no added hormones. The ultimate convenience delivered right to your doorstep, and it's got a cool box that it comes with that keeps it cold while it's on the way. Free shipping as always, curated to your customized box plans, incredible value, variety of high-quality cuts at an amazing value, exclusive membership deals, recipes, inspiration, guides, tips, tricks, hacks. So you want to be the belle of the ball this summer at your barbecue, meat in the freezer, always being prepared with the best cuts, the best value, prices and savings that are hard to find at the grocery store. So you sign up today for Butcherbox by going to butcherbox.com/boyscast. Use the code boyscast at checkout and enjoy your choice of bone-in chicken thighs, top sirloins, or salmon in every box for a year. Plus, you get $20 off. Again, that is butcherbox.com/boyscast and use the code boyscast. We're going to tell you again about Marek Health. If you have not already done it, Danny was there today.
I was getting my physical. Part of the blood work process is you basically get the blood work, and then they have all these, because they use a compounding pharmacy, so you basically just have to get a physical just so that they can essentially just tailor it specifically to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So anyways, I did that, and soon I'm going to be getting some stuff coming my way.
Yeah, then you basically do your consultation, and then they figure out everything that you should do.
You do your blood work, and then you got to get this physical, and then, so I've completed that step. And and so I'm excited to get.
No, Marek Health is the best. And honestly,
awesome.
like I said, my biggest regret was having not done this earlier in my life.
For sure.
To not have something to compare it to. And one of my big regrets as a human now at my age.
I mean, you take care of your car and you know what's going on in your car. And some people are like, I have no idea what's going on inside of my body.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
no
And they just sort of walk around low energy without noticing it.
And it can be fixed. That's the main thing, is like a lot of these little things like are fixable.
Exactly. And insurance companies regularly deny progressive treatment options. Primary care physicians refuse to order comprehensive lab work, and the standard of care lags years behind the leading research. And this is the big problem. All they do is want to treat symptoms. They don't want to actually fix anything.
Yep.
And I'm sure a lot of people that listen to this podcast know that probably. So Marek Health represents a paradigm shift in how we approach medicine, empowering those who want the most out of their health care and wish to maximize their potential. So Marek Health is at the top of the top. We're talking cutting edge diagnostic labs, concierge health coaching, expert clinical oversight, and Marek Health also supports clients in achieving health and fitness goals by leveraging data-driven lifestyle and nutrition recommendations, along with supplements and prescribing treatment options. They take everything you're doing into consideration. You're talking to a human. This is not. This is tailored for you. And they got 4.9 out of 5 on Trustpilot. This is something you want to do. We're talking custom lab reports with actionable recommendations validated by their clinical research team and physicians. So the optimization package at Marek Health includes the same elaborate panel I get myself. And with those test results, the Marek Health clinical team optimizes my personal protocol. To get the exact same panel that me and Danny got and medical oversight, click the link in the video description below. Or you go to marekhealth.com/boyscast, use the code boyscast, and you can get 10% off at checkout. That is marekhealth.com/boyscast with the code boyscast. Anyways, I've got money to spend. I just bought Berkshire Hathaway at a 99% discount.
Do you see some people did
Stock
that?
market corner with Danny Polischuk.
Do you see some people did that?
Did anyone do it?
Someone was like, bought it. They posted, because if people don't know, like the New York Stock Exchange had like a glitch on Monday morning. And then it said Berkshire Hathaway was down 99% or whatever, which is like Warren Buffett's company. And then, so some people who had like $200 in their account, like, were like, I'm going to buy one share for $190. It was trading the day before at 640,000 or something.
Well, everyone was posting, if you had spent $2,000 on Berkshire Hathaway shares 4 minutes ago, this is how much it'd be worth now. Let that sink in.
Yeah. But anyways, and so some people did the trade, and then they went and looked in their account, and then it basically like deleted their like orders and placed market orders. And so it was like bought at I think it was like bought at 660,000, sold at 650,000. So everybody was just like minus 10,000 in their account after it. But like they would have just like negated all the trades.
They
or whatever.
just said you didn't know.
Yeah, but people are like, I don't know what's going on. They're like, I logged into my account, it just says minus 10 grand. You're like, I don't even have 10 grand. Like I put $200 in the account to do it.
It didn't work out.
It didn't work out.
Okay. Pride Month Spooktacular. Pride versus Palestine. Philly was the big one.
Yeah, there'll be more. I mean, we're only 4 days in the month.
There's going to be lots more. And one thing is that not a lot of companies have gone all in as much as they did before.
I mean, sports teams are like kind of pumping the brakes on this stuff.
That's what my point is. It
Yeah,
seems
yeah.
like probably a 30% pump since 4 years ago. Probably seems like a 10% pump since last year.
Well, like even I saw something today, like something about the Maple Leafs, and then the Maple Leafs, which were big on the Pride stuff, but then the NHL, like I don't know if you remember that player was like, I don't want to wear the ribbon
dildo in my ass
or whatever, and then the NHL, and it became such a scandal, and then this one player went and did the tape even though you weren't allowed to, and then they go, it's fine, but we're not going to make teams do it anymore. They can like the players can do it, and the teams have not even been posting about it.
I know,
which is weird because they would have been like fucking.
Or there's a few of them that did it like
Stroke of
they
midnight.
did it like the Berkshire Hathaway thing. It was there and it was gone.
But like, yeah, it used to be like that was their.
And then you go, you didn't post. You go, we did from 9 to 9:01.
Yeah, 9:01.
What do you mean?
And it just, I guess, glitched out and got deleted. I don't know.
It does feel like that. I was actually looking at the Pride, the Palestine.
What?
Spit it out, Junior. The Palestine versus Pride, I guess you would call it,
Yeah.
fights or whatever. And the same thing happened with like the BLM back in the day. And then
Versus
it
the
also
cops?
happened in Toronto. Yeah, it's happened a lot of times where they basically set up the Pride Parade and they kind of make it like the race thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And the race thing.
They go, our thing's more important than your thing.
And then also it does work because everyone who's in the like gay community has said I'm for every cause. They're like all the intersectional
Yeah,
people.
of
So they go,
course.
well, if you are, you go, I'm a gay guy and I'm really for every single cause. So you wouldn't mind us taking over your parade then? You go, I
Yeah.
guess not.
I go, you guys have your parade every year. There's gonna be no Palestinians alive next year. So
Yeah.
this is important. We do this now.
But there were some Jewish gays that weren't liking it, and I was looking at some of the articles, and the one thing I saw was there's a forum called Are Jewish,
Yeah.
and Are Jewish, the gay guys weren't happy.
No.
So there's a lot of gay guys in Are Jewish being like, what the fuck is this
Yeah,
shit?
what does this have to do with anything?
Yeah, so there was some gays that were just like, fuck this, I'm not going anymore. They can suck in my dick.
They could suck my dick in a glory hole.
You know what the interesting part though, because people always sort of. I think Kurt made when he was here, but I mean, I did Jimmy Dore's podcast and we sort of talked about this too, and it was like the idea that. Because there's a lot of gay guys, and the argument is like, okay, but yeah, they wouldn't even let you be gay in Palestine, right?
Yeah.
And he was kind of like, so I guess we should kill them then?
Yeah,
You know?
of course,
So
obviously.
I actually do get the idea that a lot of people, it's like, there's not really like hypocrisy in gay guys being for that.
Mm-hmm.
However, it is still funny. Like, for example, if I was saying that, okay, my whole deal is that there should be no borders and everyone should come in here. And then there was this huge group of like a million people in Mexico, and their whole platform was we want to kill podcasters.
Right.
And every day my whole thing was let these guys in. That would be like it would be like funny to note that you've made that your whole thing
Sure.
is these guys that hate you. So there is just something about it that whenever it's someone that their whole deal is jumping on every cause du jour,
Yeah.
and this new cause du jour, if this was people in Texas, for example,
Yeah.
you would literally be saying they're the devil and they should die.
Right.
But because they're over there and they're not white,
Also,
like
these
you
people-
kind of are, you have to find your spot where you sit.
Yeah, and these queers for Palestine, they don't want to go to Palestine. Like they're not.
That's the other thing,
Yeah,
too.
they're like, we're not interested in going there. We just don't want them killed.
Right. But there is something funny about the cause du jour just like lining up with like a group of like right-wing people that wouldn't like you.
Sure. Yeah.
Whereas like these people would probably pick like your average conservative in Texas and be like, this guy is the devil. And you're like, he's much more left-wing than this guy that you are promoting, for
Yeah.
example, right?
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of funniness there, I guess, not not hypocrisy.
Yeah, it's not like an insane hypocrisy. I never thought it was that. Like everybody's like, oh, don't they know what they'll do to you? And you're like, yeah, I don't. One, they don't care. Two,
Yeah, they're-
two, they don't plan on going there. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
But okay, here's probably of part of the Pride Spooktacular. Here's here's my favorite first thing. So this is a good one someone sent me. So neurodivergence is queer. You cannot be neurodiversity affirming if you are queerphobic. Got it? It says exclamation point.
Okay.
Autistic teens and adults are 8 times more likely to be identified as queer.
For sure.
A little saying the quiet part out loud.
yeah, for sure. I mean, like the furries and the trans people are more likely to be autistic, and
It is. They've and a part of that is that, like, especially with girls,
Mm-hmm.
when girls trans to guys, like it's like making them more autistic. It's like, oh, my brain's working more like a guy's. Maybe I am a guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I kind of feel like I'm more of a guy, and you're like, because I have all this like logical brain,
fixate logic and stuff.
Fixating logic and stuff. That is so
like
funny though if you actually think about it. Like that is what's happening.
Kind of.
With a lot of the girls that trans the guys. They're just like, I'm so fucking logically oriented. That must be in the wrong body.
I mean, if you ever see any non-binary guy, like any guy who's non-binary, you're like, yeah, that guy's fucking autistic. Like he hit a fork in the road where this guy could be like locked in a basement playing like fucking video games, and he just
or he could be a chick,
or not. Well, they're not chicks. They're just non-binary.
Okay, non-binary.
They're still dudes, just with like in a dress or something.
Yeah, I was reading about non-binary. So basically, what happened is they were cursed by a gypsy, and they also, if you never see their pants, are always full of shit and piss because normal bathrooms are for boys or girls, and
they're just walking around with just inflated diapers, giant diapers.
I think what happens when you're non-binary is you basically have like a guy devil on one shoulder that's like, come on, man, be a fucking dude, and then a girl is like, where are we gonna eat? I can't decide.
Yeah, they're just. And then eventually the guy goes, I am kind of hungry. Where are we going to eat?
He goes, you shut up.
Yeah, he goes, I can't decide either. And you're just like, ah!
That's what being non-binary. But the neurodivergent thing is, of all the things, my point kind of originally that I was making, whereas it always is getting overrun by other stuff. Like the rainbow is like, they've really added a lot of stuff in there. They're like, what's that sign for there? You're like, oh, that's lumberjacks. Like they just everything's in there now,
I will say that like the Pride people, they made up so much ground so fast. Like they're not really fighting for anything anymore, to be honest.
No, it's supposed to be a party.
It's supposed to be a party, but it didn't start as a party. It started as like, hey.
Oh, it started as a party.
But I'm saying like the original ones in like the.
You been there?
No. I'm talking about like in the 70s or like 80s when it was like literally they're like, hey, you know,
we want to get married.
We
stop
want to
giving us AIDS.
They're like,
so
stop like disowning us because we're gay, and like, you know, we'd like to just be openly gay without like, you know, our lives being substantially worse. And like we have got to that point. Like it used to be where like, you know, it was a big deal. Like if someone was like gay and you're like,
want to know something crazy? So I was watching the Vice document. Remember how we talked about the wrestling Vice documentaries?
Yep.
So I was actually talking about it with the Judah Friedlander, and he was.
He's a huge wrestling guy.
He's a huge wrestling guy, and he was like, you know, they made a comedy one. So they did this. It's Vice, but it's really these two guys that this happened to air on Vice, right? It's these two guys that like run a wrestling podcast. They made this wrestling series called Behind the Mat or whatever, and then they made one Behind the Laughter or something like that. Anyways. It's awesome.
Okay.
And I watched, there's one on Kinnison, Dice, Joan Rivers, like all these different people. And it's kind of.
Jenny?
I haven't seen him yet, but I would imagine maybe there's second season.
Okay.
But anyways, the interesting part was, and the reason I'm bringing this up is first of all, the conversations about like Dice and Kinnison were the exact conversations we're having now, right?
Okay.
Like to a T, but it was the gay shit that really fucking killed those guys.
Really?
So basically
like going after gay people and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Kinnison had like the bit that was like the gay necrophiliac and, you know, stuff like that. But then he was like, oh, if only gay guys get AIDS, show me one straight person that got it or some shit like that, right? He made this joke. And this is kind of when he's like a drug addict, but he's like, you know, playing stadiums, you know, he played guitar too. So he's kind of like doing a rock star thing.
Yeah.
And then the protests outside his show, like that he's homophobic and all this sort of stuff. And then the gay guys put like real pressure on Hollywood and they canceled his movies. Dice got his like movies canceled by the gay lobby. So both of those guys, the gay lobbies, what took him out. Like,
interesting.
And again, you kind of look back and it's all just like noise, but it was all the exact same shit.
Exact same shit.
And it was the gay lobby specifically that both Dice and Kinnison got hit for. I mean, Dice was getting hit for everything, but it's the gay lobby that actually
fucked him over.
That actually took him down, sort of.
Yeah, because
like,
he only had one movie, Adventures of Four Fairlane.
He had a 5-movie deal. He had that movie coming out.
And that movie
the gay
was great.
lobby pushed so hard that they're like, we're just going to do a silent release.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I know. I don't really know
that
this
was a
stuff
solid
either.
Movie too. Ed O'Neill was in that.
Yeah. But it was interesting. And you know what the crazy part is? So they have
that there's a gay lobby.
The gay lobby's big, man. Well, you know,
well, that's the thing.
It's the lobby at Equinox.
Of course. It's more like the steam room. But yeah, I mean, yeah,
it was all that.
There's
shit.
so many of them in Hollywood, obviously. So they're probably
they just have a large presence, I guess.
And they probably were like a little more open about being gay in Hollywood. Whereas, like, if you worked in like a fucking corporation or something, you probably weren't as open with that, but in
Yeah.
Hollywood, they probably were like, yeah, we're gay.
I think they figured out early because don't forget they were just like such a block where you go, okay, this is 5 million people that are protesting or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that they were kind of just like inherently organized due to their existence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, and the thing was like making fun of you, and then they're like, hey, this guy hates gays. It was like easy to kind of get.
And it probably was more sensitive too, because like that was at a time
when they were
like,
dying.
Well, not only were they were dying, but it's like if you remember that guy like Rock Hudson or whatever, he died of AIDS actually, but he was like this big leading man, and like you could never be gay, like you couldn't pretend, like you just had to hide that shit. Like if that ever came out that you were gay, you're just like career's over. Mm-hmm. Like that was at the time when like being gay was like that's just the end of your career.
Whereas some of these people, if they came out that they're being straight, they'd be done.
Yeah, exactly. Now you're like gay, they're like sick.
They have to be like, no, I have a husband, but I'm still bisexual.
Right?
You know?
Yeah, of course. But
so
I didn't know that about.
They have a norm one too. The only probably negative part about this doc and Farley was because of the way the doc works, they have to like pick one thing and they make it really the central thing for them. Like for example, Joan Rivers, it was the plastic surgery. It was just like, she had like a 50-year career, and it was just like the only thing they talked about was like how she couldn't stop thinking she was ugly, and so that's the whole thing. And Norm was the gambling.
The Tonight Show. Well, the Norm one, the gambling, because he ruined his life.
But it's like his whole legacy. When you think of Norm, like that's one of the things, but you don't think of like.
No.
And they talk about that, and they had this girl that kept coming on, being like, for example, she'd be like, in Dice Clay, he was homophobic, he's racist, and his legacy's tainted because of that, and that's why people don't think, and he's gonna have to live with that. And you're just like, and they said the kind of things like that about Norm being sexist. Norm Macdonald, they brought him on. He goes, he was making those sexist jokes, and he thought that was a cheap laugh at the time. And they had this one girl that kept saying stuff like that, and you're just like, yeah, except that's not really how when people think of Norm Macdonald, they don't think of that guy that's like his legacy's tainted.
No, nobody thinks of his legacy tainted. I don't think anybody thinks Dice's legacy tainted. Like, go out on Long Island and ask people about fucking Dice or like legend.
That's kind of my point. They kind of painted this like fake picture that didn't really exist. And the crazy part was, so I'm watching this and I'm complaining, and I was kind of thinking like this one girl that kept coming on and calling all the people racist. Everyone else in the doc was pretty good, but I kept with this one girl. I was like, I fucking loved to. And then I remembered they asked me to do it. I literally, as I was sitting there watching the Dice documentary, being like, I wish I could correct this.
Right.
I was like, I remembered 3 years ago or 4 years ago, whenever they made this, I got an email asking if I would be one of the guys in the Dice documentary, but it was because it was Vice. I was like, I was going so hard on Vice at the time. I was like, well, I can't trust them to fucking edit me properly.
No, and you probably wouldn't even got to hear what she said. They still would have probably. At the end of the day,
well, I'm also not the biggest like Dice fanatic, so I don't.
Yeah, you're not like a comedy history.
Yeah, and I don't want to like go on and pretend that I'm like this Dice head when I wasn't really that.
And you talk to them for 4 hours and then 5 minutes makes it, so it's like God knows what ends up.
And I didn't want to be the voice of that other side where she's like, he's homophobic and everything, and I'm just like,
and you're like, he was a fucking pioneer.
Yeah, I don't know. They would have just made me like,
his voice was needed at the time to counter the homosexual agenda.
Like, I didn't even say that. I don't remember saying that. But it was interesting, and it's kind of the same thing that I said that when I was watching the wrestling documentary. The whole time I was thinking, I was like, this reminds me so much of comedy, and just like all the like how kind of like rough the life is on people and how many people die. And then they made the comedy one. They thought that too.
Definitely like the road life, and especially like the comedians in the 80s and stuff. Like they had these insane road schedules where they're like legit.
Yeah,
they're like, it was like the Undertaker. You're like, yeah, I am on the road 300 days a year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then. Okay, so autistic males are 3.5 more likely times to identify as bisexual. Autistic females are 3 times more likely to identify as homosexual. Didn't you say that you're a bit autistic, you thought?
Yeah, I got a toe in the water.
I just fucking realized how not autistic I was. One study...
Johnny, give me some toothpicks.
Counting dicks.
Dicks.
It's my dick collection.
What's my dick collection?
I can only suck an even number of dicks.
Can't fall asleep unless I've sucked an even number. Odd number, and I'll be tossing and turning all night.
You don't have an even number of dicks in your ass. That's the worst part, is that it has to be even, and that's how many dicks you take in your ass. One doesn't cut it.
Is 0 an even number? No.
What? No. Damn it. God damn it. One study found autistic people might be 3 times more likely to identify as trans. So anyways, it was just funny, like So they're saying that you can't be pro-gay with.
Do they get a stripe on the flag? Is there a neurodivergent like element of the new flag?
There are so many flags.
But there's like there is.
They have one for sure. Yes, they have a rainbow.
No, I'm not saying they have a neurodivergent flag, but they have like the new flag, the pride flag, because it was originally the rainbow, and then they have like the triangle element, and that has all like the trans and all the other things. Are they getting a stripe on there?
Do they have a stripe or do they have a whole crest?
I don't know. I think they're stripes. Maybe they should start adding stars like the U.S. flag.
Ooh, that would have been a better way to do it. Yeah,
too.
it's like each little thing gets a star.
Maybe
like,
red, white, and blue flag too.
You're like, this one's Down syndrome. This is gay. This is
stars. Maybe 50 of them. Maybe indistinguishable from.
And
the
you know that
United
some
States
people would be mad at you. Go, what are those? Like, why is the Down syndrome black gay? Like, I don't. Can you get my star out of there?
And people go to burn the flags, and you're like, "Are you burning the American flag?"
Burning the one
no, it's the gay pride flag. It looks the same for some reason.
Just burning this. Where I come from, the flag was a rainbow, and that's it. Just the guy that's
the purist.
Yeah, the purist about the gay flag.
Yeah.
These colors don't bleed.
Well, we still got 3 weeks of this.
They have a solution, though. Men and other mammals live longer if they're castrated, research suggested. Okay. So good news for you on your lifespan.
Not, though.
It was funny, Guardian did this article, and I like literally the tone of the article was like, men live longer if they're castrated. Something to think about.
I mean, the only thing I could think of is that your risk taking,
of course,
drops hugely.
Well, yes.
What else? And what are you
they're comparing to like monks and stuff like that, and you go, yeah, that guy.
Monks don't get castrated, do
or
they?
no, the people that used to get castrated, you know, the
like
eunuchs or whatever.
Oh, eunuchs, yeah.
But all those people had like a very like low stress lifestyle in a lot of ways. You go, okay, I guarantee you do a test of men who've cut their dicks off and see if the lifespan of those guys is longer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, well, we're still figuring that out with the trans people. I guess we've only been cutting dicks off for a little bit, so.
I think we can probably guarantee the lifespan's not going to be longer. High-risk lifestyles.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I wonder if you go transgender, if you're the risk-taking, how that is impacted.
I mean, you probably had a high risk-taking ability at the beginning.
Yeah, and now for my next trick. I'm going to cut my dick off.
The highest risk of all. The ultimate
There
risk.
is no going back.
There's no higher risk taking than that.
Evil Knievel is rolling in his fucking grave, getting upstage like that. I think he jumped over a fucking mountain. Nobody gives a shit, dude.
God damn, I wish I thought of that. And it is officially gone. Look in your mouth. Oh, fuck.
Did you ever see that Human Giant? Remember that show, Human Giant?
Yeah.
With
Aziz Ansari.
Aziz, whatever. And there was like, this is like in the early days of YouTube. And then there was like this guy who's like trying to make a viral YouTube video. And he's like, all right, I'm going to cut my dick off.
Oh,
and he's like, remember that?
Yeah.
And then the guy just does the funny faces and gets like way more views than that.
Yeah, he cuts his dick off.
He's like, I cut my fucking dick off.
And the guy just makes funny faces and gets just as much views.
More.
Canada's got some funny ones.
Oh yeah, this is good.
They have a flag. So on the topic of flags, Canada files period pride flag in the name of menstrual equality.
Yeah,
or menstrual equity. Sorry,
menstrual equity. Sure. Which
so
means what exactly?
I don't really. I've honest to God, I read this article and I looked at another one and I was having trouble figuring out what they mean. But the gist of it was they're just saying that, like, I guess women have periods and fucking
get used to it, huh? Get used to it.
Deal with it.
First off, there is a period pride flag already. It's called Japan. They have a flag. And for our Japanese listeners, I apologize. You are now going to have to do seppuku because I've dishonored all four of you. But
you call it seppuku?
Seppuku. Seppuku.
So the city of Victoria posted their campaign. By the way, every time these guys post this shit on X, everyone's just like, shut the fuck
I mean,
up.
it's this one specifically is so funny.
Who Canada's coming up with the wacky shit? Hey, know that video where it was Canadian politicians and it was the girls drawn on the fake beards?
That's what
real?
this was. That was for this.
Is that real?
Yes. It was
I
literally
need reverse image shirts on that because I didn't want to bring it up because I
No,
wasn't sure if it was
I
real.
found the original one. It was the mayor.
So what do they do?
It was the mayor of Victoria in BC, and she was like, it was like in in solidarity with drag performers, did like a press conference where she just drew a beard on with a Sharpie marker. So it's like the mayor of this city, pretty big city, giving a fucking like press conference outside of like City Hall with just like, and she's like a lesbian, short hair lesbian chick, and she just has a beard drawn on while she's giving.
She looks like Paul Wall.
Yeah, while giving a totally serious press conference. With like the shittiest beard drawn on. Like it's like a kid. Like if you're going out for Halloween and you're Jack Sparrow, that's what it looks like.
Fucking hilarious.
Dude, it is insane.
All right, let's put this photo up here.
Yeah, that is the mayor of Victoria. Because I was the same. I go, this is surely not real.
I didn't believe it. That's why I reviewed school. I was like, this can't be true.
No, it is true.
It's the craziest photo I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I know what I'm going to do if I'm going to do my presentation in solidarity with women and just wear a 1 + 1 = 3 shirt.
Yeah.
The struggles that they have when dealing with mathematical equations.
Yeah, see, here's another one. This is from this...
The beards is something
City
else.
News, Vancouver. See, and they all have these different beards drawn on.
Stop it!
There's a pride to show solidarity with the drag event because an all ages drag event.
They should have had a bunch of gay guys that showed up with girls beside them, and they go, "We're having our beards here in solidarity with men." So what does that have to do with periods?
I don't even think this one was so much. I think the periods was part of it, but this is just a drag thing.
Dude, this is, if you think about the like meetings this is happening in a country where, you know, GDP's been like literally went from one of the top countries to the economy's bad, everyone's housing prices, all these huge problems, and they're in there being like, we need to wear fake beards. And we need more flags for periods.
Here's a photo from 2022, the Victoria City Hall. Pride flag is up, and then they have 9 different types of flags on top of it.
Well, do you know why?
It looks like the United Nations.
Because women were obviously... Women were obviously in charge of that, so they couldn't decide.
Yeah. Which one? Well, they know which one goes up on the pole. That's the main one. And then the other
That's them eating meals, and then after being like, now I need something savory.
Just like a little taste. I'm not gonna eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
Just want to taste it.
So they have their Pride flag buffet.
Yeah. We got a little something for everybody.
Okay, so basically, I still don't understand the extent to which it connects to the period thing, but
they bunch everything together. It is interesting though, because they
said there's stigma, so they're saying there's stigma around
here's
periods.
The thing. So
that's why the period flag.
Here's the thing. So they go, we want to end the stigma around periods, right? Now, does that mean that women have to like stop complaining about them? Like if we're going, okay, fine, there's no stigma. Does women still get to be like, but I have my week where you don't want to cross me?
No, I think the idea is that, well, I actually have this article. U.S. Labor Department had a post where they released an answer to your question of what removing the stigma means and how to help menstruators thrive at work.
Okay.
What I like to do is walk into an office and I sniff. I go, are you on your fucking rag in my presence? Get her out. Get her the fuck out of here.
See, I
do that at every one of my shows.
I would go one further and get a bear.
I walk in with a bear.
Chicks love bears.
They love
bears can smell the blood, and you go... Here's your best friend, ladies. Hope you're not on your periods.
Hey, meet your best friend.
Meet your best friend, the bear. He can smell your periods.
Well, it's something else, this period business, and I don't know how they're making it anything to do with pride, but they're like, yes, men and a man and another man should be able to get married, and also girls have their periods, and there's nothing wrong with
There's
that.
nothing wrong with it. You go, okay.
So
I mean, look, you're never gonna like. I'm not one to be like. I'm not fucking. You know. Castigating women for having periods. It's still gross.
Yes, obviously.
It's still a gross thing. We can all agree on that.
It's a bunch of blood. Yeah, I don't think most girls probably don't think it's like...
Yeah, it's still gross. I know it's like a necessary function of life and whatnot. I'm not like that close-minded. Still gross.
Duh!
Yeah. But I think that's part of the stigma. They go, oh, can't say it's gross. You go, no, it's objectively gross.
Yes, it's a...
Show me your underwear right now.
Yeah.
Let's do a...
Hey! And Give me a second with it.
Give me a second alone. Let's go. Everyone in the office, take off your underwear. We're going to hang them one next to each other like these pride flags. And then we're going to bring someone independently, be like, which ones are gross? And you'd be like, the ones with the skid marks, gross, but also the ones with the huge blood stains. That is pretty gross.
Danny giving like a David Brent style seminar. It's like, ladies, we're putting the all your period underwear on this clothespin to show that there's nothing. There's absolutely this is natural.
Still wet.
Thick. That one's thick. That is a thick scent.
It's like,
And there's nothing wrong with that.
who had curry for lunch?
What do they want you to do exactly?
Here's the thing. What happens when they're done normalizing everything? Like we're getting in the 9th inning of normalizing shit, right? Of removing stigmas for stuff. Like now we're just getting like to periods. You're like, okay, so
they've been on periods for a little bit.
You know what I mean? But even if they're
that was one of the OG normalizers.
But if they're successful, then you're like, okay.
I think what the ultimate goal is eventually the movie The Equalizer. That gets just replaced with The Normalizer. And he grabs his watch, he goes, I'm going to normalize everything. There's nothing. See those guys over there fucking with what's those masks that they wear at the orgies?
I don't know what they're called, but yeah, the orgies. Masquerade
mask, but there's a Into the Dark or whatever, the
Eyes Wide Shut.
Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
They just got Eyes Wide Shut masks. He's like, I can fucking make that normal. By the time he goes whoosh, whoosh, and then he leaves, everyone goes, nothing weird there.
Yeah, I will say though, they have a lot of work to do. There was I saw some post about a Pride event in Harlem on the weekend, and it was obviously like all black people, just like dancing, and the comments were like not super pro.
Oh, you're saying that black people weren't pumped about it?
Yeah. Like the people living up in Harlem, but they were not.
They're just not feeling that body boy shit. They're saying.
Nah. They have to. I think everything's been normalized up to like 68th Street, maybe. But maybe like the 70s, everything's been normalized. Maybe like below the Central Park, everything's pretty normalized. Above Central Park, normalization.
You're saying it starts to get less normalized
it's
up in the Bronx?
way less normalized. Things are way less normalized.
And then there's little pockets where it's a little less normalized.
Yeah, once you get back up to Washington Heights,
little Saudi Arabia,
normalized again. But there's like just a meaty 50 streets where there's zero normalization.
And the period stuff, I think, is real normalized out in Bushwick.
Yeah, very normalized. Like, so there's still a lot of work to be done in terms of normalization.
That's what anytime a girl says to you, it's like, honestly, I'm fucking have cramps right now. I'm on my period. And you go, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually pretty normal. She goes, it's not normal. I have cramps. You go, it's normal.
Yeah, he goes, it is normal.
That's so fucking normal.
Yeah. I mean, the complaining about it nonstop, considering this is a monthly thing.
And a normal thing.
Yeah, and a normal thing.
I don't know. You seem to be complaining a lot for having an infection that's very normal.
Infection.
Affection. So you're complaining to me about something that that would be described as me and everyone else as extremely normal.
Extremely normal, yeah.
Fellas, whether you're a seasoned gym goer or you're just starting your fitness journey, the essential your workout really needs is Fitbod. It's a fitness app that customizes each workout based on your goals and adapts to them as you improve. So as me and Danny have told you, we're both in health mode right now.
Yes, sir.
So I'm all in. I'm on 3 times a week at the gym, getting the health in order. I got the Fitbod app every time, tracking the performance, new exercises. On the road?
On the road is the best. Like I was just in Minneapolis this weekend, staying at a hotel.
Did you do the gym at the mall?
No, there's a gym at the mall?
I think so, yeah.
No. There's just the gym at the hotel. And so you go to the gym at the hotel and they're like, we have like this one thing and we have some dumbbells and this one type of bench. And so Fitbod's amazing because you just say, these are the things that this hotel gym has. This is what I want to do today.
Or if you have a couple things at your home, you know what I mean?
Or
some people have little
working
things
in the garage, the basement, whatever it is. But you can, if you're changing locations and you have a new setup, they can be like, here's a new workout entirely.
Keeps track of your progress. It's on your phone, so you don't have to have another thing with you. It's basically like a personal trainer for way less money on your phone. And what it does is creates personalized workout routine, adapts to your growth, tracks your muscle recovery. It's been fine-tuned by experienced certified personal trainers. You can learn new movements the right way. And like I said, it's a personal trainer, but better, it's cheaper and easier to build a custom fitness plan that works for you. So add Fitbod to your workout essentials. Join Fitbod today. Get your personalized workout plan. You get 25% off your subscription, or try the app for free at fitbod.me/boyscast. That is fitbod.me/boyscast. Now, warmer, sunnier days are calling, and it is time to stop dicking around, stop wasting time, and fuel up with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. We're talking Factor. Meet your wellness goals in time for summer thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes, so no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. What I did was I started with just the ones they gave me, and then I started picking my own, and then every now and then I will try to get just a random thing.
Just a random box
and I
to see
try
what's
new
going
ones.
on.
Yeah, depends on how I'm feeling.
Yeah, I mean, the best part for me, I always say this, but 2 minutes in the microwave, no cleanup.
Bada
Bingo, bango.
Bada boom.
And it's as good as like a meal that would take you 25 minutes to slave over. You got a cutting board, your knives are dirty, there's stuff all over the place.
You're looking like a freak on a leash.
Yeah, it's unnecessary.
You're looking like a freak on a leash in there, in the kitchen.
Yep.
Who do you think you are in there? But with Factor, it's quick, it's easy. Healthy is probably one of the biggest things.
Yep.
Yeah, and if also depending on what you're trying to do, and if you're trying to get more protein, they have Protein Plus, that sort of thing.
Low carb, all
30 exactly. 35 different meals, 60 add-ons to choose from every week. Keep kitchen time to a minimum. Factor meals are ready in 2 minutes. No shopping, no prepping, cooking, or cleaning up. Effortless support for your lifestyle. So if you haven't tried it already, give it a shot. Head to factormeals.com/boyscast50. Use the code boyscast50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off the next month. So it doesn't stop there. That's code boyscast50 at factormeals.com/boyscast50 to get 50% of your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. So this is what their ideas are. The U.S. Labor Department trashed for post about helping menstruators thrive at work. And they have a few things.
Can't win.
Well, they're trashed by normals.
Oh, okay.
They're saying that you don't need to normalize this, but they also have... I think a part of it is that this is on X that they get trashed, where it's like, yeah, the people don't like this shit. But on top of that, it is retarded, and also there's so much like real shit going on in the world right now that it makes it even stupider.
Yep.
It was just like, you know, with like the wars and the Trump stuff and the trials, and then it was just like we need to, you know, do more things to make it easier for women to have periods during the workforce. Okay, so they want to do a hashtag menstruation.
Okay.
Affects half the U.S. Workforce, but talking about it at work can be taboo. So I don't want to talk about it at work, but Menstrual Hygiene Day. Here are 5 easy actions employers can take to help menstruators thrive at work. So there's a couple funny ones. 1, allow flexibility in uniforms with options in dark colors to ensure menstruators do not need to worry about an unexpected period or heavier flow will lead to noticeable stains. So they go, everyone wears black.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah,
women are pretty like cognizant of this.
Women are already allowed to wear whatever they want. Like the girls don't have dress codes.
Yeah, they don't have dress code, but like also they're like, women know that if you're on your period, you're not wearing something white. Like if you're around your period, like unless you're fucking new, like you're not like some chick in her 30s is like, yeah, I'm near my period. I'm not wearing a white dress today.
But their problem is they're saying that that some of these bosses are going, what the fuck is that?
Yeah,
I'm supposed to. You're supposed to wear white.
We wear white every day.
We wear skin tight whites every single day at this marketing firm.
And no diapers. We're not doing diapers.
Yeah, so I don't think that's really like an issue where no one can wear black, but it would be good if when someone does wear black, now that you have to be cognizant of like, we know what's going on here.
Sure.
I think
you don't say anything.
No, I think what happens is every time you see a girl wearing black, you walk over and say solidarity, ma'am. Yeah, you go. Here you go. Loud and clear.
Yeah, we'll lighten your workload for the next week.
Let me know if you need anything.
Everybody who's not wearing black, you got to pick up the slack for.
You walk up to her, you go, "Hey, I just want to talk about this report, you black pants. I'm not. We'll talk about it in a week.
Go home.
You know what? Let's talk about this in a week."
Sure.
Educate and train workers and managers about the symptoms of menstruation and how they can impact employees at work, and include support services for menstruation and an employee assistant program. So I don't know what the signs and symptoms. I think what happens is you have sort of like a coach come in and be like, all right, everybody, we're going to talk about the symptoms. Sometimes she's going to be naggier than normal.
I think every guy knows about the symptoms.
That's what I'm
I think
saying.
every guy's pretty well aware of the symptoms.
Let's talk about that time of the month, ladies and gentlemen. You have a guy to say, you know, sometimes they're going to be complaining and nagging. This is perfectly normal business.
Perfectly normal.
That's so funny. So yeah, you got a guy. I don't know what the signs and symptoms are. Basically, like,
I think I have
she has
an idea.
cramps and
Yeah,
she's
got
complaining.
cramps. She's kind of being a little bitchy.
Yeah, she's bitchier than normal.
Yeah.
But how would you have a guy come in and tell a workforce of people sometimes these bitches are going to be bitching?
Oh, that's quite the.
And then the other one is allowing them to take days off at as many as they
Yeah,
want
but
at
that's
any times.
that's gonna get abused like crazy.
No shit. A girls can get a week off of work. Get the fuck out of here.
Every month, 1 week a month. You're like,
This is a classic, like, you know, making the solution. They're just like, hire more women. And so also, once you do, we want them to have a week off of
a month paid, obviously.
Yeah, you're just like,
maybe
okay,
paid
that's not
extra.
gonna be working. Okay, so let's talk Trump, Fauci, the Hunter Biden.
Hunter Biden.
A lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Hunter Biden's trial started.
So Trump,
this week.
as far as the Trump trial goes, I think anyone who's kind of like being any sort of bipartisan, you look at it and you're just like, probably the most trumped up thing ever. They took the misdemeanor, which was always in history been
And
a
also, it was a
misdemeanor every
federal.
single
It was a
time.
federal crime that they made it
Tried in the state,
in a
and then they had to
state.
tie it to another crime that's like, oh, he's because he's falsifying, you know, putting it basically in the wrong column. And any other time, this has been like a fine, but in this case, they go, yes, but it's tied to this
And it
other
was
thing, was
after-
tied
well
to this
after
other
the
thing.
They go, it was like an election thing, but you're like, this happened. The affair was 8 years before the election,
Right.
or whatever, and then
They had to jump through so many hoops to like tie this together, which one of those things you're just like, with all of the fucking eyes on him, and it was like a guarantee, we're going to do what we can to prosecute this guy.
I mean,
and you're like, this is what we came up with.
Bragg literally ran on prosecuting Trump. Like, that was his, like, what he ran as DA for.
So when you watch all the things that are crazy about this, it was like, you just have to be a 100% like all-in
Like, here's the
partisan to
thing.
not think that.
I'm sure there's no fucking chance, if you know anything about Donald Trump, he's committed many crimes. There's no question about it. But it was like, why, like, you know, why were they going after him? You can find crimes on anybody, like these little ticky-tack, like, you know, crimes, like on any politician.
Yeah.
You could find them if you decide that you're going to just go
And
after
business.
them. And business. And like, yeah, you're going to find them, like Joe Biden.
Or person,
Or personal. Like, you're going to find these crimes if you decide that.
But
like,
usually
you need to dig something up.
usually what happens is, you know, they give you like, again, jaywalking is a crime, right?
Yeah,
but like,
exactly.
People are not getting prosecuted from jaywalking nonstop, right?
No. Like, obviously, if he wasn't running, this would have never happened.
That's
Like, if he wasn't running, this would have never happened. Also, it's so short.
The rebuttal to that, you can be like, well, you're going to be held to a higher standard once you're, you know, in this high position of power. But then you go, the other thing is like, yeah, but there is still precedent. It was like, the bottom line is once you're in this argument, you're like, listen, we all know
We all know what's going on,
on here.
I mean,
like, do I have to pretend?
Do you not remember, like, 10 years ago when it was, like, impossible to fathom that a president could be charged or convicted with a crime? Like, of a crime? Like, it was just understood, like, 10 years ago. You're like, yeah, you're the president. You're like, just...
It does sort of, like, remind you this, like...
Like, that's just how it used to be. You're like, yeah, the president is exempt from being charged with crimes.
Do you think it has that effect a little bit for a normal person where they want to believe, like, it's not that corrupt? Whereas stuff like this, you're just like... Oh, you really don't want to mess with like the fucking like the United States government bureaucrat organization, like
For sure.
Apparatus. You know?
But also like, so if Trump wins and he's looking like he will, unless, I mean, I've seen I think yesterday the Wall Street Journal put out something where they're like, all these like people close to Biden are like, he's fucking losing it and he's not there. And so, you know, maybe this is maybe like, there's probably not probably higher than I would say a single-digit percentage chance that there'll be a different candidate running in November for the Democrats or whatever. But like, if Trump wins, you don't think he's going to start doing all this shit to the people that you guys like he's going to start going after Democrats?
I don't know if he has the ability in some ways, because it's like, you have to be you have to have like all the lifetime bureaucrats on your side,
but
right?
you'll have there's lots of Republican states and there's lots of Republican DAs.
Yeah, some people on his
right?
side, yeah.
And there's lots of people on his side.
But these guys have, I feel like the other side has like the deep state. It's not even Republican or Democrat, but it's like that sort of apparatus of like, we don't want this guy, has just like the military industrial complex. They have the CIA, they have all the three-letter agencies. Like, there's a lot of corruption, like whatever, in all of those things that I don't know if Trump's going to get in and they're going to be after him again.
They'll be after him again. Yeah. Like they were kind of
so I don't know if that's really fair to say, but I think there is. You can probably point out the hypocrisies on both sides. Like the funniest part, probably funnier one to me, is that like every person that's like, the justice system's corrupt, we need DAs to be less strict on crime, no one should get prosecuted for these tiny crimes, we have people in jail for this, the system's rigged, the police should be defunded, and also like this one's right
this
though.
One, this one's right though. This one we should go after.
And it was just like, okay, obvious. And then the other side of that, you're like, every person that is kind of, not every person, but there is a lot of people that are kind of like, this is bad for democracy having this. It was like, you'd love this if this was Hillary Clinton.
Of course, absolutely.
Obviously.
And again, why aren't they prosecuting Hillary Clinton? She had whatever. She had crimes that she also committed. They let her go. But I actually think because the Hunter Biden trial just started, and I actually think like they might actually throw him in jail. Like probably give him I don't know what the sentencing.
Make him do a couple day bid weekends.
They were saying that they might make Trump do weekends actually, which is the funniest thing in the world. You go Trump doing weekends with a bunch of just like guys on DUIs and fucking and child support payments.
How funny would that be if you were just a guy doing weekends? You did your weekends with Trump.
That's insane.
That'd be sick.
Playing cards with him and stuff and like But anyways, they were like that was one person I saw, some like pundit was like, yeah, maybe if he does go to jail, he'll do weekends. But I think with the Biden thing, because everybody's like, well, they're not going to send Trump to jail, and I'll watch like, oh, Trump's going to go to jail and like Biden's not. I think and this might be like totally far-fetched, but I think they might send, because obviously his father is the president, I think they might send Hunter Biden to jail so then they can be like, we're sending Trump too. So they'll be like, see, we're not actually like so unfair. Like Hunter Biden didn't get a pass. Hunter Biden's going to jail and so is Trump. Like they're going to sacrifice Hunter Biden for Trump.
You think so?
Maybe. I don't know. Like, again, I don't know. Like, look, from the sounds of it, they're like someone with his crimes on a first offense doesn't go to jail. But like a huge thing that could maybe switch that is that usually like people who get convicted are remorseful. And he's like the opposite of that. He's literally like, fuck all of you. Like, this is bullshit. I didn't do any of this stuff. This is complete scam. And so that is a factor when you get sentenced. Is like if you have zero remorse for your crimes.
And the judge is obviously like his number one hater. Though,
exactly. But I'm saying even with sentencing guidelines, you're like, if you have no remorse for your crime, like you get a way bigger sentence.
Yeah.
Like that's just how it works always. So, but I think that like it's way more palatable to send him to jail if they also send Hunter Biden to jail.
Maybe.
It kind of makes sense. Like, I mean, if Hunter Biden gets out, like even, I think it was today or yesterday, like that Hunter Biden laptop thing, like they, during their testimony.
He has a gun charge too, I think.
Well, he has a gun charge with drugs, but like with the laptop, they basically were like, yeah, the laptop has never been altered, like it's never been touched. It is what it is. Like it's actually legit, the whole laptop, which they were, again, pre the 2020 election. That was like part of the thing where they're like, you couldn't post about it on Twitter. The New York Post was blocked. They were like, we don't know if the Hunter Biden laptop is Russian misinformation, all the shit. That was total bullshit.
All of it.
Complete bullshit. But now it's like in court. Like, I mean, we all knew that, but now even they're admitting in court. They're like, yeah, it was not doctored. It was not Russian misinformation.
The internet really has started to like disperse some of their lies and stuff like that. And,
oh, for sure.
Like even the Fauci thing, where Fauci's been getting fucking to the fire right now.
Oh, dude, his Freedom of Information Act shit. Did you see that? So they released all these emails because they knew that they were going to get Freedom of Information Act requests, like where basically if you're like a public, whatever.
Oh yes, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And so they were like, here's all these ways that we can essentially like change names and like in someone's name because they'll search your name or whatever.
The gist of
they
it,
make like the S $$ because they go like they'll never find they'll never search for this guy's name if the S is a $. So then in their emails, they're like, they just like will change the names up and stuff so that they'll never find them.
But they did that in an email.
But they were doing that in emails, and they just, I guess maybe they were, I don't know. Anyways,
They just like slipped
They
up
were
the
doing-
same way that like criminals slip
yeah,
up.
Fauci was doing shady shit.
But the whole thing was to try to basically obfuscate the part that he did gain of function. And you kind of look at the way that was like they were sort of saying that Obama basically said they can't do these like gain of function, which is when you try to create viruses so you know what to do with them when they come, which seems how like every apocalypse movie starts. You know what I mean? It's like,
And like the social distancing thing, like the six.
that's the second part. So
6
just
feet.
the gain of function thing, just to finish that, was basically then they changed the definition of it so they can still do it, but they're like, well, it's not technically. It's like you're doing the same thing. They just sort of
You
changed the
changed the
definition. And
terminology,
they did all
yeah.
these Weasley stuff. But then basically when he became the main guy, he was like, we need to cover up all this shit.
Yeah.
And then, yes, then there's stuff where you're
The social distancing where they're like, where did that come from? And he's honestly like, I don't really know where that came from. Like, it wasn't a scientific thing. He's like, he honestly said, he's like, I don't really.
I just kind of made it
He
up.
got, well, I don't even think he said he made it up. He's like, I think it was just going around and we just went with
And it was like, duh. Everyone fucking who's watching this thing with a brain kind of saw that already.
like the first 2 weeks of COVID. And you're
It's like once you changed your mind 3 times in the first month, we were like, okay, this guy's winging it.
and then all the George Floyd protests where you're like, these are fine. And then you go, okay, this is nonsense.
Okay, you're winging it.
Yeah, you're winging it. This is nonsense. But yeah, like that was like one of the main ones where they were like, he's just like, yeah, I don't know where that came from. And the mask stuff was crazy. And like, I mean, they did real damage. Like all those kids who lost a year of school, like when you lose a year of school when you're 6, like that's a big deal. It's not like fucking missing your last year of high school. Like you lose like you developmentally, like that's a big chunk.
Do you think there is behind the scenes deals getting taken place with like high Republican people and high Democrat people being like, listen, like we're playing a bad prisoner's dilemma right now where we're going to put Trump in jail, your guy in jail, this guy in jail. Like we all need to take this easy. Or do you think that like there's like an arrogance on the deep state sort of apparatus being like, I hope these guys mess with us? We'll they're like, oh, we'll put Fauci in jail. They're like, you think we care about Fauci? He served his purpose. Good riddance.
Yeah, put him away.
Yeah, put him away.
I don't know.
I think Fauci's just going to get yelled at in Congress. A
Yeah,
little bit.
I don't think anything will happen with him. I think he'll just have his like reputation destroyed.
To people that
Who probably already are like, and you know, some people who are kind of maybe like middle of the pack who like didn't have a huge opinion on it, maybe. But again, he's not an elected official. I'm sure he'll get some fucking board seat on some pharmaceutical company. I mean, he's like 80. Like, it's not like I'm sure he doesn't want to work that much anyways anymore. So it's like he'll just live out his years and
but it's not really about him. It's more like, to me, he isn't the
But I mean,
thing. It's more just like he was doing the bidding.
But he was under Trump. Right, like that's the whole thing. Is like he was. I know his position actually.
I'm less concerned with who the actual president is because I'm like becoming more and more.
And he had that position before Trump, so it's not like Trump appointed.
Dude, there's all the people that are fucking really pulling the strings. I don't know. It just seems like obvious. There's so many of these like. You know, you think the director of the CIA doesn't have like the president can't do shit. He
They
appoints a few
fucking
people.
killed JFK. They can do whatever the fuck they want.
These guys are mean business. Man.
Yeah. They're literally unelected officials who will like kill a president if they become inconvenient.
Fauci told the Republican politicians that the 1 meter distancing rule just sort of appeared.
Yeah, you guys.
Fucking goof.
Yeah, who said that? You go, honestly, I don't remember. She was so crazy back then.
But that's why I felt like there is a little bit, as much as, because I feel like to some degree, Trump's spell isn't as hot. Like I know a ton of guys that were kind of like Trump guys on the internet that now they're just like, I mean, he spent more than anyone. He just as much as the next guy right after. He didn't build the wall and he loves fucking Israel.
And he loves, the vaccine.
He loves the vaccine. He loves Israel. Like he's sort of, so I feel like to some degree, a lot of people that were, you know, trying to be sort of like honest people or whatever, he lost their vigor, that's for sure. And it's hard to keep someone's vigor for 8 years.
But again, you go, okay, well then vote for Biden.
But I feel like this is igniting people's vigor a little bit because they're just like...
But again, I don't know which side...
It's a new vigor.
I don't know politically, though, like which side benefits from this because... Like, I don't know if this is a huge Republican win or it's...
I don't think anyone thinks there's a ton of great options right now on the table for American politics.
It's crazy that, you know, Michelle Obama right now...
Not familiar.
...is, like, in the betting markets, has higher odds of winning the election than RFK Jr.
RFK's not winning, yeah.
But I'm saying he's running. She's not even running.
That is interesting.
Like she's not running.
She's
You're right. I guess the idea is she'll be Biden's replacement.
A lot of people think that.
Yeah. But like she's not running. She's said she's not running.
I think for people that are kind of like this whole thing looks corrupt, they're just like, good news. We have like a new candidate, Obama's wife.
Yeah, so you'll get 4 years of Obama. 16 years of Obama, 4 terms. Because everybody thinks Obama's pulling the strings right now. So it's like, it's like Obama's currently the president, and then there'll be Michelle Obama for 4 more. You'll get 20 years of Obama.
They did a thing, George Orwell's estate approves the retelling of 1984, which to me was just like the funniest like moment in history, and they're trying to make it more like they're getting their women propaganda in there, telling from a woman's perspective, and you go, they're just like all the people that are just like, we're not doing propaganda. Also, the #1 book about propaganda, we're rewriting that. It's like, how fucking out of their minds are these people?
Who wants that? Like, really, who wants that?
Well, it's not that they want that. They want like a version of that. They want to obfuscate like the messaging of that book.
But you're like, it's so crazy.
Who wants that? The fucking deep state, pal.
Yeah, but who's like buying that? I guess some chicks would be
know what?
It's
an interesting
female
thing
lead.
I'm always like, it's always interesting to me if we're talking about sort of conspiracy minded here, that it does seem like there's a lot going on where they sort of, change things here and there. Like they change definitions. They change this. Like even that whole game. It's all makes it mucky. So then when a normal person's arguing, they can just kind of be like, well, this and this and like,
yeah.
Even like some of the stuff with Fauci that was like like completely dead to rights. It's like there's still enough like there's so much muck. Mm-hmm. There's so much swamp, I guess.
Sure. That
but
could be drained.
Here would be an interesting one. One of the things that I've always recently been like noticing is like a lot of politicians and everyone always goes, when they're talking about policy, they always go, they always use the word fair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was kind of bothers me because you go, well, what does that even mean? You know what I mean? Like I go, well, I think it just means what you think.
Yeah.
Like it's when people say fair, what they really like, this should
make your own
this is a fair wage. This is a fair tax.
Yeah.
What they mean is more generally. Mm-hmm. Like when they say fair, they just mean more than it is now.
Right.
But so I was kind of looking, I go, what does that fair actually mean? Like when I go, what's the definition actually? And this kind of blew my mind. So the definition of fair, impartial and just without favoritism or discrimination. So now I looked up the word just. The definition of just based on behaving according to what's morally right and fair.
Oh, it's like a circular.
So their definition of fair is just, and their definition of fair or just is fair.
So the definition of fair is fair.
So neither of these words have a definition.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you know,
open
isn't that kind of fucking wild?
Yeah, open to interpretation.
Think about how many people use these words.
How many bong rips were you doing when you were on your little fucking your little dictionary mission? You go, what? The definition of fair is fair? That's fucking crazy.
I thought it was a pretty good revelation.
Yeah, I know.
I did kind of feel like a guy in a movie a little bit when I was discovering this.
Yeah, for sure.
I felt like the Big Short guy when I was just like, wait a second. Well, that's the definition of fair. What's the definition of just? By George. I'm on to them.
Oh, God.
I felt like a little bit I was on to their tricks. Well, that's crazy.
I wonder if there's a previous definition of it. Like, that's a recent definition.
I was looking into that.
Like, could you get, like, the archive.org?
No, they've scrubbed it. I don't have the clearance.
Interesting.
I don't have the clearance.
What the hell? There's no definition of fair before 1997. What the hell is going on here?
Well, how crazy is that? And I guarantee you it didn't involve the word discrimination before. No. That's for fucking
discrimination's in there? No, definitely.
Fair, impartial, and just without favoritism and discrimination. Impartial and just. So I know what impartial means.
Yeah.
Which that's not...
Unbiased, I understand.
When these people say fair, that wouldn't be impartial. They all are partial.
Of course.
So they're using it incorrectly. But then they go, it's okay. So what would be a fair salary? You go, well, an amount that's just. And then you go, what does just mean? An amount that's fair. What the fuck? Fuck you.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Galaxy
brain. I do agree that it's. I mean, when politicians say fair, they don't mean fair. They go whatever's best for me and my party, and they just say fair. So then they go, I'm trying to be fair here.
Yeah.
Go, what does that mean? You go, it means just.
Now he's on. He's liking it now.
Let me just see what just means. Yeah.
Elon Musk porn on Twitter. People aren't that
I
happy
thought
about
porn
that.
was on Twitter.
No, porn. It's like apparently.
I thought it was allowed. I thought that was the whole deal. Like, or was it going to be? Well, no, but there was porn. There was for sure porn on Twitter. Everybody's complaining about the porn bots, and then they're definitely like when Jack Dorsey was in charge. Like that was the whole deal with Twitter was that porn was allowed because everybody was like, it's crazy. They're just porn.
Well, then what's the difference? Why is everyone making?
I mean,
a big
Barry
deal about
Ribs
this,
constantly
then?
just retweets hardcore pornography. So I know it's allowed.
So what's the big deal here?
I don't know. Maybe it was not an official stance.
I'll tell you what, I don't like it.
Or maybe they're trying to get a cut of the OnlyFans.
I'm not even saying from like some moral stance or even really on my like on pornography's bad or whatever.
Yeah.
And not that I don't have opinions on that. That's just not my point here.
Yeah.
I don't like personally looking at the news and then imagine just in
it's
general
crazy.
when you're doing something. I mean, listen, if I'm walking down the street and I see a fucking guy, like fucking a girl on a billboard, it's like, well, now that's taken my mind away from whatever I was thinking about. No
Absolutely.
shit, right?
Or if you're in public and you're like looking at your phone on Twitter and then you're just like,
In public, you can't be on Twitter because, I've been on the subway. You're looking
Yeah.
at Twitter, and then all of a sudden,
it's like porn.
boom,
Yeah, it's like porn or something. I don't know. The only thing I can think of is they're going to be like, because they have a subscriptions service set up, so maybe they're just going to try and take a bite out of OnlyFans. Maybe that's that's the plan.
And then also, speaking of,
They make it really hard to find though now, which I will say is a lot different than it used
like,
to
you
be.
just put the thing over it, so you have to click it if you want to see
Yeah,
it.
like Anna, yeah, for sure.
Right? If you want to have explicit content, you have to click it first.
Yeah.
But they have this TikTok trend of women where they basically, it says it's, they're talking about like porn books basically because women like to read like love stories.
Oh, yeah, like the Danielle Steele novels.
Yeah, but it's just a bunch of girls kind of being like, we're basically doing a book club online and they have these big followings. But it's just always funny to me. Like imagine like a community of guys on TikTok that just like talked about their like favorite porn.
I mean,
And then Kanye West sued for sexual harassment by his ex-assistant. So he's always, having these controversies.
Sure.
And I think
I assume she figured she was getting hired for her great executive assistant skills and not those huge cans.
he's really got to learn his lesson to stop hiring influencers. But basically they said, see, this is what Kanye West allegedly said to her. He was in an angry text. See, my problem is wanting to fuck, and then after fucking, I want to fuck a girl to tell me how hard they've been, and a lot of other more little F words here.
Ooh.
Then I want her to cheat on me. It gets really vulgar after that, with more alleged texts from Piscata that describe Ye's sexual fantasies with women. A lot of them include explicit language. So, I mean, listen, I've sent things like this to Johnny. He's never gone public about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is, I mean, the truth is, if you want to be like a wild boy that fucking treats your employees like they're your bar friends, then you fucking don't hire influencers, and you probably shouldn't hire women.
He hired her to be his assistant, and then he offered her. I think she had an OnlyFans that was successful. And he goes, "When you quit your OnlyFans, I'll pay you $1 million a year." I don't know what the going rate for an executive assistant is. It's not $1 million a year, okay? If you're fucking the executive assistant for the CEO of JP Morgan, you don't make $1 million a year, okay? Probably make 150 grand. You don't make $1 million a year.
Good point.
He had ulterior motives there, no question.
Okay, I gotta play this.
And he said his dick's racist, which is what John Mayer said. John Mayer got in so much trouble back in the day for saying that. John Mayer said that his dick was like David Duke.
What, he only likes white chicks?
Yeah, he goes, my dick is basically like David. That was when his like douchebag era, and everybody fucking killed him for that. Killed him.
Okay, the polyamory community?
Yep.
We've got a really good TikTok. And there is a bit of it where these guys have, they have found a loophole to get a lot of pussy despite being like a weirdo.
Yeah.
But this guy's he talks like a Reddit mod. Hold on.
So your wife's dating another.
Hold on.
yeah, this-
He does comedy sketches that are all about like polyamory. But this one's fucking killing me.
So your wife's dating another woman. Nice.
That's
Alright,
the douchebag.
whatever's in your head, no. Just no. What? You're telling me you're not going to have some fun with them? Probably not. We're not dating this person together. It's not my relationship. Then what do you get out of it? Nothing. It's not for me. It's not my relationship. I would never let my woman. And I'm done. What's going on? Ooh, unfortunately that means you have lost this round of talk to a douchebag about poly.
comedy chops on this guy.
Yeah. And I'm done. And I'm done.
That is pretty good, though. It's, excuse me.
Excuse me. What do you mean when you say my woman?
Also, for the audio listeners, he looks like a Reddit mod, but more importantly, when he does his douchebag character, his backwards hat,
and
like an undercover cop.
Yeah, like undercover. Yeah, exactly, undercover
That's
cop.
his opinion of like a cool guy. But just so you know, you just go, yeah, you have a girlfriend, and then she's having sex with other girls. What do you think of that? I don't think anything of it. But it is just.
But he didn't say that he won't be able to get in there. He said there was some wording that he used where there's like
he leaves it open.
Yeah, he leaves it open. He goes, it's not my relationship. You know, I might fucking get in there. You know, they have a couple pops.
The Weasliest guy in the world that did find out a way to get punani. He goes, but okay, ask me. So your chick's fucking other chicks?
Your chick's fucking other chicks?
Okay. I
don't have a chick. So
they're flabbergasted with like the most normal questions.
Normal question.
Yeah, that's what
like,
it is.
Any man would be like, so that's pretty sick, and go, why is that good? What's good about it? I mean, it's good because I'm happy for her.
You know what it is? They're short-circuiting. That sort of mentality where you're short-circuit.
No, they're tired of having to answer. Like, they think this is so normal.
I actually disagree with you.
Where they go, what don't you
that's
get?
not what's happening. He's can't fathom that someone would ask this.
Yeah, well,
you're saying he's tired of asking that. His take is more like, what did you say? Like, what the fuck, dude? Not okay. Like, I feel like that's more his energy.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
Yeah, maybe. I'd like to see what other stuff
So your wife's dating another woman. Nice. All right, whatever's in your head, no. Just no. What, you're telling me you're not going to have some fun with them? Probably not.
Probably not. That's what he goes, probably not.
You're right.
No, and then you go, gotcha. That's what he should have. He goes, the douchebag goes, gotcha, man.
You're right, he does.
Probably not. And he goes, no, no, probably not. You go, yeah, but probably might.
But probably might. You're right, because he didn't get as aggressive till the end, but at the end he was short-circuiting.
It's when he called him your woman or whatever.
My woman. Your woman.
Did the Harlan Williams. He's like, you're a woman.
Excuse me. That is our woman.
That's our woman.
I'm telling you.
You know the chick, though? The other chick is like, yeah, that's my woman. Like the other lesbian chick.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Fuck yeah, that's my woman.
In no other walk of life is that guy swimming in it probably the way he is. You know what I mean?
No.
Obviously, I'm sure these girls aren't fucking, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sure you want to see what that guy's harem looks like.
I don't know if I should say this, but I'm just going to say it. I don't think it'll be a big deal. But so we know a poly guy.
I think we probably know. Well,
no, there's one guy who we know of specifically.
Probably think I know what you're talking about.
I saw him last night. And he just, I don't know what exactly was going on, but the whole night he had a deck of cards in his hand. Like he's doing magic now or something. Like he just was walking around all night with a deck of cards.
And that's how he picks up the girl?
I don't know what was going on, but he was just holding a deck of cards the whole time.
You think there's like a poly to magician pipeline?
Maybe. I don't know what was going on, but I'm like, that's such a funny twist. Like, because he was like, I fucking get so much pussy. So much fucking low tier pussy.
That is so funny. Just bragging about it. It's like, took down another 3 last night.
Is this your card? No, I don't. It's not my card. Guess I'll get there.
Is this full of pussy juice? Yeah, it might be. Well, they're stuck together. Why are they stuck together? Cummed in them.
All the sniz I'm getting. Consensually.
He comes up to your girl. He was just like, hey, pick a card. You're like, just, no.
Yeah, no.
Get the fuck away. Beat it. Yeah. Took down a 300-pounder last night. One leg.
That's funny though. I don't know. It's just so
I
weird.
went to the shelter last night. I call that 52 pickup. Just
such a funny accessory.
52 pickup. You're like 52 girls, one 52-year-old, very big,
Abused badly. Last guy, not a good guy. Cigarette burns all over her arms. Fucked up.
Yes, now she is she is added to the roster.
Yeah, it's like pick a card. It goes, whose name is it? Hers. See?
Polyamorous magician pipeline. Okay, so Drake, since the loss, has been doing some weird shit, and he came out with this new song.
Well, it wasn't his song. It was this TikToker came out with it. That was my whole TikTok. Was like every time I opened it, it was this fucking song. And
I'm bringing it up because it's Toronto
this
related.
kid from Toronto. It was Wagwan Delilah. Wagwan Delilah. It was a funny song, and it popped off on. It had like 1 million people just using the sound, and then Drake.
Wagwan Delilah did hit,
and then Drake gave him a verse.
What's Wagwan Delilah? What? These are some of the lyrics.
Wagwan Delilah, what's it like in Toronto City? I'm 2,000 kilometers away.
Kilometers. But girl, tonight you look so bad. Oh yes, you do. Dundas Square don't shine as bright as you.
It's a good song. Good song.
Oh, Glen Delilah, you live so far, it's a mission. This is all Toronto slang. Yeah. You live so far, it's a mission. I can finesse my way on transit, but nowadays these guys are dissing. Are you dumb? I scan my Presto with no funds. Keep me off, you get brunched. There's some fucking good lyrics here, eh?
Solid song.
Wagwan Delilah. No, I'm late because there's bear traffic.
Well, these are Drake's lines.
I know.
Yeah.
I just show my dog your gram. He said he knows a man that slapped it. I'm so cheesed. Your Mademoiselle nights are geeked. I'm bent low key. Wow, this is
that's the thing. If Drake had any kind of Toronto people who were like on the fence to go, maybe Kendrick, he won them all back on this one.
Brought a chronom for your bestie. Sorry, he's wearing a shiesty. He's not beat. It's just too smoky in these streets. You're looking sweet.
It's funny. That's a good move by Drake.
I did actually change my opinion on him a little bit, negative against him. And one of the reasons is I'm still on Team Drake. However, and I know people don't really like that about me, but the one thing that I'm a homer.
You're a homer.
But the one thing that sort of got me is when you look at all these beefs, and I was just like, I listen to the academics and that stuff here and there, right? And it was like every beef is from Drake trying to fuck people's girlfriends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which I actually do think is the lowest quality of a guy.
Yeah.
Like there's no, like I'm sure
and
we all
don't need. He does like he's the last guy who needs.
Yeah, like if you used to like work with a guy and then like fucking his ex-girlfriend, like I do feel like that is like the scummiest dude. Everyone knows that's the scummiest guy.
Like again, if you're like, oh well, I work with her now and she's just like the only chick that's around, you go, okay, it's scummy, but like a little more. He doesn't. His Instagram DMs are just like,
he's probably like DMing girls of guys he like knows.
Yeah.
So it is sort of like a scummy move.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna talk about the Spanish comedian that got punched in the face on the on the Patreon. We got new
fuck around and find out.
Polyamorous relationship, lots more stuff. Mark Cuban has another bad take.
Again?
Yeah. But anyways, appreciate everyone who's been subscribing. Patreon.com/theboyscast. We appreciate all of you and see you next week.
Peace.